everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com. Here to do your monthly angel card reading for the month of June 2019. For this month's monthly reading, we'll be using the Psychic Tarot by John Holland for the main message for everyone. And your special message card this month, depending on your stone of choice, will be coming from the Messages from the Light meditation deck by Joyce Huntington. So let's go ahead before we get into the energies of the month and let's look at your stones of choice. Your first stone of choice is this beautiful rose quartz pyramid. And the rose quartz pyramid is an energy that is all about the heart chakra. It's that pink color or that rose color of the heart chakra energy. So we're dealing with the healing of our emotional bodies. We're dealing with the healing of relationship issues, whether from this or previous lifetimes. The pyramid itself has an energy that either takes third dimensional reality here, or third dimensional intentions, if you will, from the base of the pyramid and shoots them up through this point out into the universe where they can be made manifest, or it also has this opposite effect of taking in the energy from the universe, the blessings from the universe, through that point of the pyramid and bringing it down into manifestation on the earth plane. And again, it's all about that heart chakra, unconditional love and compassion energy. Your second stone of choice is angelite. Now this is an angelite heart. So of course we have still that heart chakra kind of feel going on here with the emotions with the angelite heart. But angelite is a blue colored stone. It relates to the throat chakra. So this is getting in touch with that unconditional love of the heart of the angelite, and also angelite meaning getting in touch with the angels and speaking your truth with compassion, speaking your truth with love. This is what throat chakra energy is really all about here. And then the last stone of choice, it looks like amethyst, but if you can see that there's a little bit of golden color in there. I don't know if you can see that with the light here, but there's a little bit of gold reflection within. It's especially, you can see it right here. And that gold reflection means that this is ametrine. So it's a combination of citrine and amethyst, and that's why they call it ametrine. Now, the citrine portion of it, the golden color, relates to the solar plexus chakra, your center of personal power, and your sense of leadership and take charge ability. And of course the amethyst here, the purple color, relates to the crown chakra, which is kind of higher knowledge, or higher information kind of coming through that crown chakra. Now this has a point on it too, although it's a little bit longer of a base, unlike the pyramid, but it also has kind of a focusing effect. So a focusing effect on again, a clear insight, specifically, bringing through that universal insight down through the crown chakra. And again, with that citrine portion, with the ametrine, having that sense of directness, because the point here means it's a masculine sort of energy, that directness with taking charge and taking action and making things happen. So again, your stones of choice for the month are the rose quartz pyramid, the heart, which is, I want to keep calling it celestite, but it's angelite, so angelite heart, and the structure here, not quite a pyramid, ametrine, so the ametrine. Okay, so let's start by talking about the month of June and the energy vibration of the month of June. Numerologically speaking, the month of June adds up to an 18 vibration, and we get that from taking the universal year energy of 2019 and adding it to the month of June. So to get the universal year vibration of 2019, if you watched my previous monthly videos, you take 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9, and we get that number 12. And I want to stop for a minute and talk about that 12 universal year vibration. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because you can watch my previous videos about it. But I feel like we're at the midway point here. We are at the midway point for the year 2019. We're in June. It's the 6th month. So, I want to just revisit, what is the universal year vibration all about? And if we think about the number 12 from a tarot perspective, because we can reduce it, as often numerology people do. We reduce it down to the single digit of the number 3, which is about expansion. It's about creativity, creative self-expression. It can be about abundance and prosperity. And it's about kind of this new growth. The Empress is the Major Arcana 3, so it's about new growth and expansion. But it's also about our belief systems. But if we look at the 12th Major Arcana of the tarot, and depending on what tarot deck you want to use, I was guided to kind of look at it from 3 different perspectives. And the first perspective here is the 12th Major Arcana of the traditional tarot is the Hanged Man. This is actually from the Syrian Starseed Tarot. And so it's called the Hanging Man. And this is that aspect again with the 12 universal year of 2019, where this whole year we're looking at things from a different perspective. This Hanged Man is hanging upside down, so the world looks different to him, or he's needing to look at the world through different eyes. And you can see again, if you're hanging upside down, the world looks different. Your circumstances look different. Situations look different than if you were right side up. Now you can also see that he's almost in this meditation, prayer, contemplation kind of position. He's not trying to move. He's not moving. He's just in a standstill kind of energy. And the whole year of 2019 is sort of feeling like this, in a way, standstill kind of energy, because it's not really a fast-moving year. Okay, we're halfway through the year, and so things have not been unfolding in a very quick manner, depending on the different circumstances and situations in your life. Maybe not at the speed that you would like. And it's this self-reflective energy that we need to kind of move into. It's this contemplation energy that we're in this year 2019. We're looking at things from a different perspective, and we're needing to perhaps change our belief systems. As you can see, the crown chakra of this Buddha or master is all lit up. We're needing to, look at things from a different perspective, but also change our belief systems about how we're viewing situations and circumstances. Now, in the Fairy Tarot deck, it still looks like the Hanged Man, but it's called Awakening. And this is, again, a different perspective as far as how to look at this whole year of 2019 that we're halfway through. This can be about awakening to a different viewpoint, awakening to a different way of thinking about something or seeing something, meaning situations, in your life. And then the other card I wanted to show you is from the Psychic Tarot itself, the one that we're going to be using for the main message for everyone. And in this deck, Major Arcana 12 is called Sacrifice. And you can see this young woman. She's kind of coming up out of the water. She's got her hands in a prayer position, but they're behind her. And the rainbow also is behind her. She's got her head tilted slightly to one side as if she's trying to look at things from a different perspective. And she can't quite see that rainbow of hope is behind her. And she's in this energy of sacrifice. And this is another way to look at this year of 2019, is that we're needing to sacrifice, or we're feeling like we're sacrificing something in our lives or an aspect of ourselves in order to have patience and view things from a different perspective. And in order to also kind of readjust our belief systems, knowing that there's hope ahead of us, but yet it's behind us and we can't really see it. So we're in this idea of needing to sacrifice in order to look at things from a different perspective, awaken ourselves to, seeing something with spiritual eyes rather than physical eyes. And we're needing to kind of hold on to this sense of hope, knowing that it's behind us, on the side of us, in front of us, but perhaps we can't yet see it. So I wanted to show you those 3 cards. Now, the energy, the universal month energy for June is 18, because if you take the universal year energy of 12 and you add it to the 6th month, which is June, we get an 18. Now, Major Arcana 18 is the moon card, and in the Syrian Starseed Tarot, it's called Luna, another name for the moon. The moon is about our emotions. The moon is about our subconscious. The moon is how we feel. You know, and if you think about the full moon here as pictured on this card, the full moon brings up the intensity of our emotions and the emotional body that we have. You know, we all have an emotional body. So it's our fears, it's our anxieties, it's all those emotions that sometimes, and most of the times perhaps, we have a hard time kind of traversing or keeping balanced, especially when it comes to the more challenging emotions, I would say. And this card too, the depiction of the card is this kind of wave that's kind of cresting or rising up. You know, again, it's a full moon energy. So perhaps around the full moon of this month of June, we need to pay attention, because this is the vibration for the whole month of June. But this is telling us that the emotions will swell up. You know, this is kind of a swelling of the wave, so to speak. It's rising up. The emotions are going to be rising up this month of June. And we're going to be needing to look at our own subconscious patterns, because again, the moon is about our subconscious fears, the anxieties, the challenges that we deal with emotionally. It's all coming from our own subconscious and those patterns that we have from this and previous lifetimes. So it may be quite an emotional month. You know, dealing with, and this is also, they're saying, home and family. The moon often relates to the mother or the divine feminine, family, home. So there could be a focus on home and family matters, or a matter with a parent or parents also that we're needing to deal with in this month of June. Okay, now let's talk about the highlights astrologically for the month of June. And you know, it seems to be that Venus as well as Mercury are highlighted this month. And Venus is about relationships, and it's about love, and it's about money, and it's about finances, personal resources, our values. And Mercury is about our mind, about our thoughts, our ideas, our communications. It's that planet of the mental realm. And there seems to be a lot of ebb and flow and connection with different planets, with both Venus and Mercury this month. And those two planets are personal planets. So when we have a lot of aspects going on with personal planets, it's about our everyday details of life, the everyday circumstances and situations of life, as opposed to like when we're talking about Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, those very slow-moving planets, those planets that rule the collective energy on the planet. Those energies are more kind of a soul energy. You know, it's almost like the soul moving on its journey or on its path of evolution and growth. And then the personal planets come along, those faster moving planets, and kind of set off circumstances and situations with relationships and with career and money matters that, with the bigger picture of the collective planets that I just mentioned, kind of create a story. So again, with Venus and Mercury highlighted, there's a lot of things on the third dimensional level that are maybe transpiring or happening. Again, with relationships, money, and thoughts and ideas and communications with others. Now we have a new moon on the 3rd of June, and the new moon is at 12 degrees of Gemini. And so, of course, Gemini energy is ruled by Mercury, you know, so with Mercury being highlighted, this new moon, which is a new beginning on the mental level with our thoughts and our ideas and our communications on June 3rd, you know, that Gemini energy is pretty prominent, because right now the sun is in Mercury. With the new moon, the moon is in Mercury. Gemini, for the first couple of days of the month, is in Gemini. So I hope I just said that right. The sun and the moon are in Gemini. That's what I meant, not Mercury. The sun, the moon, Mercury, all in Gemini the first few days of the month. Now on the 4th, Mercury then switches into Cancer, which is a more emotional placement for Mercury. And with Mercury being a logical planet, and the first 3 days of the month was in his home sign of Gemini, he was really comfortable there. A lot of communications, a lot of ideas, a lot of, you know, things going on in the mental realm. As Mercury shifts into Cancer on the 4th, where he's going to be until June 26th, it becomes more of a mental focus on home and family, and nurturing of other people and caretaking of other people, because that's what Cancer is all about. So you're going to find more communications with family members, for instance. We're going to find our communication takes on a more emotional tone when it's in Cancer, as opposed to when it was in Gemini, which is more logical. And on the 8th of June, yes, the 8th of June, Venus is moving out of Taurus and into Gemini. So it's interesting that Mercury is moving out of Gemini and into Cancer, but Venus is moving out of Taurus and into Gemini. So we still have that Gemini emphasis going on with the Sun in Gemini and with now Venus in Gemini. Now Venus is going to be in Gemini for the rest of the month of June and actually not move into the next sign of the zodiac, Cancer, until July 3rd. So now we have the rest of the month where Venus, which rules relationships, is in Gemini, meaning she's going to be much more flirtatious and much more intellectual and much more communicative with other people. And also with her being the ruler of money, there's going to be new ideas kind of popping in, brainstorming kind of these new kind of ideas in regards to maybe money and finances that comes in, or maybe not being able to make a decision based on her values. And, you know, again, it's kind of that flirtatious, spring-like, childlike, you know, kind of energy with Gemini. When it comes to relationships and Gemini ruling duality or ruling the twins, this can be, if you're looking, say, for a new partner, this Venus in Gemini is like, I'm looking at all my options and I'm dating many people and I'm being sociable within groups and I'm, you know, just kind of not necessarily making a commitment. Gemini has that vacillating kind of effect to it, and it's hard for sometimes Gemini to make a decision or have a focus with the energies. So, you know, again, when it comes to relationships, and not just romantically speaking, but even with friendships, you know, it's like we're networking with a lot of people and we're kind of looking at all of our options and all the potentials. Now, let's see, we want to talk just briefly about the Sun on the 9th and 10th, and it challenges Neptune, squares Neptune, and opposes Jupiter. And, you know, this is kind of a confusing sort of energy. Whenever we have the Sun, which rules our identity, and it challenges Neptune, we don't feel very grounded. And later in the month, on the 24th, Venus is challenging Neptune. So again, that can bring in some confusion regarding relationships. So that kind of, you know, stuck out to me as well. And the reason why I'm talking about the Sun challenging Neptune, which is only for a day or two, and Venus challenging Neptune on the 24th, which is for a day or two, is because Neptune is slowing down this month. Neptune is getting ready to turn to retrograde motion, and actually turns to retrograde motion on the 21st of June. But because Neptune is a generational planet and moves very slowly, we're going to be feeling this all month. You know, it's basically stationed at a particular degree. It's going to heighten the energy of Neptune when it's stationing this month, which is increasing our dream time activity. So pay attention to your nighttime dream activity. It can heighten our psychic and intuitive capabilities and sensitivities, but it can also make us more susceptible to addiction tendencies, because Neptune rules addictive sort of tendencies, and make us more sensitive to substances, whether, you know, the substance is, you know, alcohol or some sort of drug, or it could be a prescription drug, or it could be also being more food sensitive or more sensitive to chemicals or anything like that. So we're going to become more sensitive emotionally and even physically with Neptune slowing down. Now, backing up to the 17th, we have a full moon at 25 degrees of Sagittarius. So this heightens the energy or intensifies the energy of the Sagittarius, which is inspirational, higher education, higher learning, that aha moment. It's a very kind of creative, inspirational, and kind of fiery sort of sign. So I feel, you know, that like this full moon can be really great, but again, Sagittarius is mutable and it's kind of all over the place like Gemini. So this whole month with the Gemini energy going on, with the Sagittarius full moon, with Neptune slowing down, getting ready to turn retrograde, we need to do what we can to be focused. We need to do what we can to stay grounded. That's going to be very important, whether it's grounding ourselves by going on nature walks, doing meditation, although that might pose a little bit of challenge because our mind is going to be wandering, but that's okay. Just do what you can to kind of stay in a balanced mental, emotional, and physical kind of space, and even spiritually speaking, with all of this mutable or changeable energy happening. Now, the highlight of the month, actually, is on the 16th of June. And I know I've kind of skipped all over the place, and that's indicative of all this mutable, changeable energy, right? There's no focus, and it's kind of jumping from one thing to another. So on the 16th, the highlight astrologically is Jupiter squaring or challenging Neptune. Now, Jupiter and Neptune are squaring each other 3 times this year. Now, actually, the first time was in January at 14 degrees of Sagittarius and Pisces. The second time here is on June 16th at 18 degrees of Sagittarius and Pisces. And the third time is going to be in September at 17 degrees of Sagittarius and Pisces. Jupiter being in Sagittarius, Neptune being in Pisces. Now, 2 things stand out with this particular Jupiter square Neptune. One is that, remember, Neptune is slowing down to turn to retrograde motion on the 21st, but it's at its stationary point all month because it's slow moving. That's going to heighten the effects of Jupiter challenging Neptune this month. The second thing is that Jupiter is in his home sign of Sagittarius. Jupiter naturally rules Sagittarius in the zodiac, and Neptune is in his home sign of Pisces. Neptune naturally rules Pisces. That makes both of these planets very strong where they're at. Okay, really kind of bringing up the intensity of that Sagittarius and that Piscean energy, which both are mutable signs. Sagittarius is mutable fire, and Pisces is mutable water. What happens when we put water and fire together? Well, normally the water will put out the fire, right? Or it creates kind of a steam sort of effect. So again, these elements, these signs of the zodiac, challenge one another. And now we have, again, Jupiter's energy of expansion and growth and making things bigger, challenging Neptune, which rules the spiritual realm, things that are unseen, things that are confusing, things that are ungrounded, but things that are still very spiritual nonetheless. So there's this expansive quality, but yet challenge energy with these 2 planets going on all month. So again, it's bringing up this very unfocused, ungrounded sort of feeling. And Jupiter rules our belief systems. It's how we perceive things. And Neptune is about the spiritual realm. But again, we have to trust and have faith because things are unclear, which is why we go back to this whole idea of looking at things from a different perspective. It's really coming to a head in this month of June, to where things may not be making any sense. And we need to really change our perspective of what we're experiencing, because what we're experiencing with our third dimensional mind or third dimensional way of seeing it may not in fact be what's really going on a spiritual level, on that Neptunian or Neptune in Pisces level. So we really have to stay in a place of trust and faith. We have to change our belief systems with Jupiter expanded to a different perception of what we're experiencing, so that we can stay in a balanced space for this month. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the energies from the cards. Now again, this comes from the Psychic Tarot. 2 cards came out with the first card. And the first card, let's turn over, and we have the 8 of Emotions. Now, this is like the 8 of Cups in the traditional tarot. And you can see that the message at the bottom says emotional withdrawal. So again, we're needing to really balance that emotional body. This person is kind of meditating by the water, by the ocean, to try to stay in a place of balance. They're withdrawing their energies, and that goes with the moon as well. When we're in this emotional heightened state with our subconscious, with fears, with anxieties, with our emotions, a lot of times it helps us to withdraw, to go away somewhere alone where we can rebalance ourselves appropriately. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the card that came out with it as the first card, because this might give us more information. And this is number 9, Solitude. Now that really goes with the emotional withdrawal card, doesn't it? It's like we need to get away, emotionally withdraw. We need to go into a place of solitude to figure out. Now this is showing a lady with a book, so it's almost a mental card as well as the emotional. So we're needing to balance emotionally and mentally. And to do that, you know, we need time for self-reflection. We need alone time with meditation, contemplation. We need to get somewhere by ourselves so we can understand from a logical perspective, from a mind perspective, from an emotional perspective, what exactly is happening in our lives, okay? So the main thing I get from this is that we really need alone time. As much as you can carve out some alone time to just kind of regroup and recenter. Let's take a look at the next card here. And the next card is number 5, Wisdom. Now, the cards that have the black lining, like number 9, Solitude, and number 5, Wisdom, this is like Major Arcana in the regular tarot. So this would relate to the Hierophant. You know, the Hierophant, you know, a spiritual figure of authority. He's carrying a book, kind of like a book of knowledge is what I want to say. And this person is elderly. He's got some graying hair. So he's got a lot of wisdom. He's got a lot of knowledge. And isn't it interesting that both the Solitude card, the lady has a book, and the Wisdom card, the man has a book. So there's really something to be said here about information, the mental body, the mental level, your thoughts, your ideas. And again, we're in Gemini energy. And Gemini is all about our thoughts and our ideas and our communications. But as far as communication, Solitude and Wisdom, they're both by themselves and they're not around anybody. So I feel like we really need to watch what we say. And it's not that we need to limit our communications with others, but I think we need to really reflect on what we're thinking and what makes sense before we're speaking it. And it's almost like there's wisdom in silence. There's wisdom in self-reflection and there's wisdom in silence this particular month. The number 5 numerologically can bring about an imbalance or unfocus of energies, okay? So again, to kind of regain that sense of balance and clarity, find your time alone to kind of regroup. Now, the last card for the month, this is a very positive card actually. This is the 6 of Spiritual. The purple is spiritual. So the 6 of Spiritual, it says victory and success. So I feel like whatever we're moving through emotionally, whatever we're moving through as far as needing to have this alone time, needing to kind of reflect on our thoughts, on how we communicate with other people and how we communicate with ourselves as well. I feel like we successfully, you know, move through this month, that we have some sort of, you know, victory kind of energy by the end of the month. Now, I also feel like we're going to be getting some sort of messages by the end of the month, since this is the last card. You know, to me, this is like da-da-da-da, celebration, listen, there's some sort of message coming in, you know, like Archangel Gabriel with his trumpet, and Archangel Gabriel rules that kind of mental realm communication and messages as well. So I feel like we need to really pay attention to what messages are coming from a spiritual, universal perspective. So listen to your angels and guides, listen to the universe and what you're intuiting. And again, you're going to intuit the best when you're in a place of silence, solitude, alone time. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the special message card depending on your stone of choice. So the people that chose the rose quartz, this one's standing up here, rose quartz people, passion. Okay, so you really need to find your inner passion. I feel like this is more an inner passion than it is an outer passion. You know, not that you can't find something that you're passionate about on the external plane, but I really feel this is about finding a sense of inner passion here. This almost looks like a person. I know it's not, but it almost looks like the head of a person or maybe even the head of an angel. And it's like finding the fire within you, you know, finding the creative passion within you and allowing that creative passion, allowing that fire to kind of come up and out. And again, I feel like it may be going into July before it's actually expressed on an outward level. I think this month you're finding it on an inner level or an internal level. So find what lights your fire and utilize that in the most creative way this month. For those of you that chose the angel light. Now this one here is calling my attention, angel light people. Integrity. And I feel like, and she's wearing almost the same color as the angel light, not quite, but it's still that throat chakra color. So this to me is saying that you need to speak your truth with integrity. Remember, we talked about angel light being speaking your truth with compassion, unconditional love, but also with authenticity and integrity. And I really feel like that's what you're doing this month. But also this lotus, this purple lotus at the heart chakra stands out. So you're needing to balance that speaking your truth with integrity with what's in your heart. You know, really, again, getting in touch with that unconditional love within your heart before you speak. You know, and as you merge the heart with the mind, as you merge that mental level with the emotional level, and then speak it through the throat chakra, which is this color that the person's wearing, that's going to get you the best response from other people this month. And then for those of you that chose the ametrine, okay, ametrine people, this one's calling my attention for ametrine, mindfulness. So again, it shows somebody with prayer, hand position in the prayer position over an open flame. So you really have to be mindful of what you're thinking. You really have to be mindful of what you're speaking. Mindful of what you're putting out to the universe as far as your intentions. You know, your thoughts, your belief systems, they reverberate out into the universe and they help to create your reality. Even if you don't speak it out loud, there's a powerful effect with your thoughts and your belief systems. So really start to focus in on and be aware of, again, have this sense of awakening with the mind of how you're thinking and perceiving and projecting things out into the world, or even to another person, if you will. Okay? So I hope you've liked this monthly angel card reading, everyone. Thank you so much for all of your love, your support, your beautiful comments. I thank you all so much. I send you a lot of love and light. Until we meet again, many angel blessings to you all.